Hey everybody, my name is Erica Burnett. I'm the founder of the She Can Say It podcast. I wanted to do this video to share my experience with being single. I'm 53 years old now, as we speak today. I'm 53, and I've been single longer than I've been married or with someone in a relationship. Of course, I had the single phase before I got married and the single phase after I got married. After I was married, I'm now divorced. Those are two separate experiences, very different. When we're young, we don't take the time, to find out who we are as individuals. We just grow up believing that life is all about just getting married and raising a family, which, don't get me wrong, which it is absolutely. That's important. And I do not have any children, by the way. We're not told most times growing up that it's important that we take the time to know who we are as individuals. We just, especially women, we go right into growing up, graduating from high school, possibly going to college, may or may not, having finding someone, having a baby, married or not, and just raising children. It's very seldom that, someone takes the time, our parents, our loved ones, to say to us that, it's important that you take care of yourself first, that you find out who you are first, what you want to do in life, your likes, your dislikes, why you're here, what's your purpose in life, what do you want to do. It's very seldom. And it's not that, um, I can't even say not that. A lot of us didn't have the tools, or our family members couldn't share that information with us because they didn't have the tools necessary to do so. So that is a huge reason why. And when I remember back to my younger years before I got married, which was I got married around my late 30s. And before then, all I did was like complain, oh, I ain't got nobody, and all this stuff. And I just went on and on and on about that. And I dated back then, not to, I can actually count on one hand how many relationships in my life that I have actually been in, actual relationships, one hand, no more than that. And I just can remember I went through just being alone, and it was the worst thing in the world. And I didn't realize that I had the freedom that I had. I didn't realize the opportunity that presented itself in that moment. I had my own apartment, I had a job, I was taking care of myself, my own car, all of that stuff. I could come and go, do what I want, all of that. Never had a problem. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed my alone time and stuff like that, but I did not think of it as a way to get to know who I was. I didn't know how important that was. It's extremely important. And I just learned how important it was after divorce. I was married about 7 years, and almost, I want to say, this October will be 10 years that I have been single. 10 years. And it's amazing when I think about it, because when I first got divorced, it was like a huge weight that was lifted off of my shoulders. I felt so light. I slept better. I laughed more. I could come and go as I pleased. When I came home, everything was in place. Nothing was moved. I had no anxiety. I had no like, not no stress, but minimal stress. I was so at peace. And I didn't realize what it felt like when I was younger, when I was by myself. I wasn't clear, not clear, but I wasn't present in the moment. I was so busy trying to chase what I thought that life was all about. But after I got divorced, I came to the realization, and I said, this is not too bad. Now, don't get me wrong. Being single is not easy. It's not easy. And I say that because being single, we women, um, maybe not all of us have the same experience. I do, but there's like, I want to say a stigma. Stigma might not be right about single women. We're looked at differently. We're looked at like something's wrong with us. We're single. There's something wrong with us. Especially if you don't have any kids, you're not a mother, so there's something wrong with that. The fact that you're not a mother, you're looked at differently. Um, you are considered a threat to some women who are in relationships. And mind you, I'm speaking about my experience. I can't speak for all women. This is my experience. Um, and it's not a good light. And I'm not saying we make it any better by some of the messages that I've seen on social media regarding, women are doing it for themselves, and we don't need a man, and what do we need a man for? I can do everything. I mean, granted, we do what we have to do as women when men are not present. In my opinion, to say that you don't need a man, we need each other. And when I say that is because it was designed like that. Biblically, it was designed for men and women to be in relationship with one another, to create families, and it's for the glorification of God. That's basic. So it's not like we don't need one another. We do. So, in my opinion, that message goes out the door about that. But as single women, we have it's rough, and it's rough because as women, not only the stigmas about we're threats and all this stuff, but we're at the forefront of everything. That means when a single woman by herself with no children, or a woman with children, a family that she has to raise children and run a household and all that stuff, it's rough because you're at the forefront and you have to be everything. You have to make sure the house is taken care of, food on the table, stuff is getting fixed. You got to run errands. If you have children, run them to school. You got to do homework. You have to do all this stuff. And sometimes with that, it makes a woman frigid. It makes her more manly, because of all the responsibilities, because now she is mom and dad. She's providing, she's nurturing. And some moms miss it. Some single women who are raising families miss that nurturing thing. Even the women that are single and by themselves with no children, it can make you bitter. It can make you bitter. It can make you hard. It can make you less feminine, and it actually can. And I've been through all of those feelings, and I'm happy to say that through all of those almost 10 years, each day I learned something new about myself, and certain behaviors that I began to pick up, like the becoming hard, and getting sloppy and walking around and baggy clothes, and my clothes started to become baggy because I got to a point where I really didn't care. Now people could, I'm a business owner. Some people see me out there. I dress one way out for business, and at home I'm different. I might not put on all of that stuff or whatever have you. I'm very, very different, at home. And I'm an introvert. Number one, that's the first thing. I'm very introverted, very to myself, and no one would even, I've been told that people are like, I just don't see that in you. And I'm like, yeah, very much so. I go out and I do what I have to do, and it's not putting on the front. That's my energy. That's who I am. When I come home, different story. And I had to talk myself out of that all those years. And I have to say, okay, mine says, you got to get all of these unfeminine clothes out of your house, you have to start thinking differently. Just because you are single and nobody seems to be coming your way, and at this moment, don't lose who you are as a woman. Don't lose your femininity. And it's very easy to do because you don't have anyone to come home to that kind of expects that from you or needs that femininity from you. It's nobody here but you. So you have to be feminine for yourself, which is not easy at all. It's not easy when you don't have an incentive at all to be that. You have to coach it. Now, this is my experience. Other women might, but this is my experience. You have to talk to yourself. You got to be your own coach, and you got to practice. You got to walk around the house in heels and a nice pair of shapely jeans or something like that. If not, you will become hard and you will become bitter, and you sit back and you will wonder why men don't are not taken to you, or they make certain comments about how you carry yourself, and then you want to get upset and stuff like that. My experience, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen women be very hard. I've seen women with husbands and in the stores and boyfriends and stuff, and just mean and nasty to them for whatever reason. I mean, he could have done something or whatever, but to me, that doesn't speak femininity. Um, but it's being single is a very, very necessary, I want to say, journey and process. It's necessary. I think, in my opinion, everyone, every woman, even a man, should spend time alone. Get to know who you are, what you want out of life, the type of person you want to be, the type of character you want the world to see about yourself. It makes you hold yourself accountable because you have nobody around you to hold. Now you have friends outside, you have loved ones. If your parents are still living, you have parents, and parents will tend to naturally hold you accountable. Family members, loved ones will, intentionally hold you accountable for your actions. Overall, they can do that. They can say, the necessary things to have you think about, how you're behaving and what you're doing. But you're responsible. You have to, singleness helps you learn how to hold your own self accountable for your actions. And it's basically because you're responsible for everything around you. So in your home, are you taking care of your home? Are you taking care of yourself like you should? Are you eating right? Are you sleeping like you're supposed to? When you make a commitment to someone, are you keeping that commitment? And when you're single, all of that stuff becomes louder. All of those messages become louder. It's like they bounce off the walls. And you begin to say, now, was that right? Now, should I have done that? I told her I was going to do this, or I told them I was going to do it, I didn't. And that voice inside of you begins to speak louder and louder and louder. And it says, you got to make some changes. You got some stuff. Because when we think we're single and we're ready to date and go out here and date, especially after divorce or after maybe you lost someone or whatever, and now you're single again after that, we believe that we are healed, whole, and ready, and go out here, and we totally have no clue as to who we are as a person. meaning we just so busy chasing after what we believe we deserve and want that we're not paying attention to who we are internally. So you go out here and the other person is the problem. You're dating and the other, dating somebody, you go on a date and the other person is a problem. Or the other person is a problem. They actually are a problem. You accept that negative vibe from them. You accept that negative behavior from them, and you take that in and you accept it. That's a problem. That means that you're not done healing. You're not done taking care of the internal work that you need to. You're not done with that. So why is it that you're dating? I say that to say is that make sure that you take care of yourself first. Singleness is not easy. It's not easy because, like I said, there's stigmas for single women. There's stigmas for single women. It's not easy. But you got to do the work. You got to do the work. You've got to work on yourself first. You can't expect a man or God to bring you one and you're not ready for that man. You're not ready to be supportive. You're not ready to be that partner that is there for them 24 hours a day. You're not ready to compromise. You're not ready to change your schedule from this to that. You're not ready when your partner says out of nowhere, can you go and get this? And you sitting up there arguing or whatever. You're not ready for that. You know what I mean? So it's important that you do that. It really is important. Singleness is just not a process that should be taken lightly. It's something that's very necessary. And like I said, 10 years in, I am still finding out about myself. I am still changing. And that's another thing. We change as people daily. We change. Our behavior changes for the good or for the bad, but it changes. You find out something new about yourself just about every day if you pay attention. So think about how being in a relationship with someone else and here you changing and they're changing. You have to learn how to deal with that. You have to have the strength. You have to have the know-how, the compassion, the empathy, the patience. You got to have all that. And singleness but strengthens you in all those areas, especially patience, because you alone, you by yourself, and you're waiting. And truth be told, you don't have any control over whether you get married or not. That's my opinion. Anybody can go out and get somebody and be with them in a relationship. Now, is that the person for you? Who knows? You know. Or is it not? But can you make somebody want to be with you? Can you make someone marry you? You can't. You cannot, especially the one that you know is for you. We really don't have control over that aspect of our lives. We really don't. The part we have control over in single life is making sure that we're okay, making sure that we're mentally healthy, making sure that our emotional being is where it should be, making sure that our spiritual being is where it should be, because your spiritual being takes care of the rest of yourself. So when you feed that spirit and you get that spirit up to par and it's strong, it feeds everything else. You take in the right messages, you take care of yourself physically, you take care of yourself emotionally, you don't allow yourself to be subject to just any and everything or any and everybody. And that's a daily thing. Because when you go out in the world is what throws all of that stuff at you, and you have to be able to handle it, especially as a single person. You are at the forefront of everything. Everything that happens in your household, you are responsible for, and things go wrong almost every single day. You might have a day or two, 24 hours of nothing, but something is always brewing in the background. And you got to be emotionally stable and mentally stable to handle that without falling apart. Singleness does that for you. You go through so much of that stuff on a daily basis, and you get stronger and stronger to the point where you can smile. The roof done fell apart. I remember when I got divorced, so many things happened at one time. I am surprised I'm not sitting in an institution. I had come downstairs. It was a couple of days, I think, after the divorce was final. I came down. I didn't come downstairs. I was upstairs, and I heard something. I said, "What is that?" It was raining outside. I said, "What is that?" I come downstairs. It's raining in my window like there was no window in the dining room. It was just raining inside the window, and I had to go to work. So I'm throwing towels and stuff down there. Come to find out, my middle room raining in the window. 2 windows raining. And then I look in the back room, that was leaking. And I said, we got 4 windows leaking at one time, and I got to go to work. Now, that's the first thing. After I didn't get that under control, I put in the order for the windows and stuff. I think like a few days later or something like that, I'm at work. Somebody done ran into my garage door, knocked it all the way in. I had to call my brother over, and he came in and knocked it back in and bolted it to the wood and stuff until the guys could come over and put the new one up. Couple days after that, gas company told me they're gonna knock down my door because they smell gas. And I'm running from work to my, no, don't do that. And I had to get it. And I said, if one more thing happened, okay, this is ridiculous. Not too long after that, I had 2 cats. One of my cats got sick. I had to have one of the cats put down. Same night. Not the same night, a couple of days later. Took to the vet, and this is nothing they could do. Said, had to have her put her down. And I said, I ain't got no more. I ain't had no more. I really didn't, because I was freshly divorced. And I was still grieving. And I thought that, a huge weight was lifted. And I know I said in the beginning that a huge weight was lifted. A huge weight was lifted. It really was. But when all this stuff, when everything settled and all of this stuff started happening, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, and I just kept looking around, and I just sat at the table one day and I cried like nobody's business. And I said, I'm alone. And all of this stuff is my responsibility. I don't have nobody to help me. I got to do this. I said, you got to do this. After I cried, I got myself together. I went upstairs. I went to bed. I woke up. I felt better. And I carried on. And it doesn't stop. Those were small events. It's a whole lot of other stuff I could go through. Every time I look, roof was leaking one day, and I said, this don't make no sense. Roof. Then the man tells me, you got to get a new roof. All of that stuff. You are responsible. I'm single with no kids. Now, can you imagine the weight of that on a mother who has 1, 2, 3, maybe 4? She got to make it all right, not only for herself, she got to make sure her children are taken care of and that they're mentally and emotionally and spiritually stable. Not only her, them as well. So can you imagine? Being single is not easy. It's nice, and don't get me wrong, it's nice, and you are full of peace. Now, I'm very peaceful. very peaceful. I absolutely love my peace. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, do I really need, and I question it. And I question it and say, do I really need to be married? And the answer is no, I don't need to be married. Not, it's not a need. I would like to. It's a desire, not a need. Um, and like I said, it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing to be in relationship with the opposite sex, your partner. To be in a relationship, it's innate. We were built for that. We were built for it. So it's a natural feeling that you have. It's just that now my look on it, my take on it is different because I'm established now. I have my own home. I have my own car. I have a job and stuff like that. So I'm not looking for someone to provide for me because I've always provided for myself the minute I moved out, when I was younger. So that's something I don't need, but it's a desire. Absolutely. It's nothing wrong with that. And the thing about it is that it can be, I sit in, not I'm gonna say sit in loneliness. I do become a little lonely sometimes. Do my best not to stew in that because you can go into a deep depression. So, but when you lay your head on a pillow, I'm just keeping it real. When you desire to be married, because that's why I got married. I'm a wife. I desire to be married. When you get divorced, there's a void. There's a void there. So, and there will always be a void there for that portion of it to be married. There's a void. And when you lay down at night and and I can't say it'll always be a void, it might not. But when you lay down, because right now, like I said, I have my moments. I don't stew in it. I have moments when I lay my head on the pillow, or I have a quiet moment, and I'll say to myself, it would be nice to just sit and chat with my partner. It would be nice to go on vacation together. It would be nice to share some just nice little conversations at the kitchen table. All of that. All of that. And early on, I used to sometimes cry myself to sleep. And I said, well, why? I was disappointed. And I said, well, why me? Why I gotta, be by myself? Why is this, happening to me? And I did. I used to question it all the time. I used to ask God, now, what's going on here? What's going on here? I always desired to be married. I knew I was a wife. I was not cut out for no single life. It's me. I'm in it. And so back then I said I wasn't cut out for it. But guess what? I'm in it. I'm in the single life that I was not cut out for and doing just fine. I've actually, I'm doing just fine. And I think it's because that I found purpose in my life. I know that I'm here and was here for more than, just to be a wife. I'm here to, I want to say, support people in the way that's necessary in their lives. I'm an entrepreneur. I have, two businesses and, ministry, which is coaching. So and I think that's a lot of, not a lot, I didn't mean wrong. That helps when you are living and engaging in the purpose as to why you're here on this earth. It fills it up. It fills that void. Now, don't get me wrong. if you desire a partner, a husband, the desire doesn't go away. It doesn't leave you. And I don't want people to sit here and believe that if you fulfill your life with your purpose and stuff like that, the desires of your heart will go away. They don't. They don't go away. And I'm speaking from experience, my experience and other, women that I've listened to. It doesn't go away. What it does is it fills up that void that you had in you of loneliness and stuff like that. Because what happens is you go out here and you live in your purpose, the purpose of why you're here, and you meet people and you support people and you build relationships with people. And what happens is it's fulfilling. It fills you up. It fills your heart up. And so you have less lonely moments. You have less times that you had that conversation with God and say, I'm not understanding why my husband is here. Can you please send him? You have less conversations with God about that. And you end up, you're so tired. You're fulfilled and you're at ease, but at the same time, you're so physically tired from helping everybody else that by the time you get home, you ready to go to bed. You ready to hit that pillow and sleep. Okay? You want to go sleep. You have done so much during the course of your day. You have filled your time up. If you take the time that you have as being a single person and you take care of yourself like you're supposed to. And when I say like you're supposed to, that means you're consistently checking in with yourself. Mentally, am I right here? Emotionally, am I right inside in the heart? Physically, exercise. Am I eating right? Are you cooking dinner for yourself instead of going out and eating a bunch of fast food? Are you reading something that will help develop your mind, your spirit, your soul, your whole person? Are you keeping your house clean? You know what I mean? Are you keeping the inside of your car clean? All of those things matter. They really do. Your environment determines how you feel. And actually, your environment is actually a display of how you feel. It's how you feel and what you're thinking, what your thought process is. There's a TV show called, I don't even know if it's still on. It was about people, I don't even remember the name of it now. I just lost it. I used to watch it a lot. It was about people who retain a lot of junk. Hoarders. It was hoarders. And what I noticed about hoarders is that those people who were on that TV show, there was always an emotional or mental problem behind the hoarding. It was always that. That's because all of your mind, everything in here and in your heart shows in your environment. So if you want to know how somebody is thinking and where their mind is, look at their environment. Someone who is very organized and everything is compartmentalized and put in a space and stuff like that, that's how they think. Their minds place everything in a certain spot. And they deal with that thing one-on-one. Someone who has a bunch of junk, that's their mind. That means their mind is all over the place. Someone who has they got to hold on to everything. They got to hold on, they buy and buy and buy and buy. It's an emotional thing. They feel safe and they feel like this stuff brings them comfort, whatever they have. So you got to think about that in your singleness, ladies, sisters. You got to think about that. We're so ready to go out here and find a mate, which you don't have any control over. You can go out here and you can meet anybody, but are they the right one for you? You don't have control over, who approaches you. You can think that you met the right person, but you gotta vet them. You gotta ask questions and all that stuff, and you may find out later, no, that ain't it. And you're gonna keep trying and trying and trying. The only person you have control over is you. Just make sure you're straight. And when you're straight and you're okay, you may be blessed with a partner. Like I said, I'm going on 10 years. I'm still finding out stuff that I need to work through. This is how long it takes when you go through traumatic experiences in your life when you're younger. And a lot of times we don't even think a lot of the stuff we go through is traumatic. We don't think about it. When I was younger, I was bullied in school to the point where I didn't go to school for 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. It was 1 or 2 weeks. Mother didn't know nothing about it until she got to school, and I think it said absences on the report card when they used to write the absences. They used to handwrite the stuff in. Got my behind toe up, and she asked me, and she said, and I said, why didn't you tell me? Well, it's a single mother. She had enough on her plate. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Mom was in the space. She had a lot of responsibility. She had it tough. I was not going to add to that or whatever. And that traumatized me. I did not realize that it traumatized me until I got older. So every time somebody did something, I would just break down. And people were like, oh, you so sensitive. That sensitivity came from me being bullied in school. I never got over it. It took me years to work through that. And get rid of that and get that out of my system. Took me years to do that, well into my adulthood. So we're so bent on going out and getting into relationships and stuff like that. Make sure you cool first. Make sure that you have worked through all of the stuff. Even if you got to go talk to somebody, make sure that you are okay. And when people tell you this is how you behave a certain way, you have a certain behavior that's not good, don't be quick to write them off and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about and you got a nerve to be talking about something. Listen to them and think about it and be able to do a self-check and make sure that you are cool. Don't be so ready to just jump out here and you just got over a man and now you just go on. I'm not saying it's nothing wrong with that. I'm not bitter about being single. Trust me, I'm fine. I am absolutely I'm fine. Okay. The desire is there, but I'm okay. You know what I mean? I just don't want people going out there and you're not ready. You think you're ready, you're not ready. And I'm not saying this because, like I said, I go out there and I thought I was. I went on dates and stuff like that. And I would get home I said, you not, I said, what was that? You're not ready. You're not ready. And I used to say that to myself, you are not ready yet. Not yet. And that was like a few years ago. You're not. And I used to, and you recognize it. You just have to be open to recognizing. You have to be open to the point where you know yourself and you can check yourself. And really, when I say check yourself, that's God talking to you saying what you said was not right. Your behavior was not appropriate. That's what that is. That little voice inside of you, you begin to listen. That voice gets louder and louder and louder and says, not yet. You're not there yet. And I'm not saying that because some people come into that awareness of themselves and all that stuff. It doesn't take them that long. It doesn't take them years. It depends on how damaged a person is on the inside. So don't discount being single. Being single is not easy. Also, it really isn't a bad thing. So, there's what you said, you got to take everything the good with the bad. That's everything. You got to take the good with the bad. There's good points to being single, and then they're not negative points, but there are hardships to being, to being single, especially as women, because people like to take advantage of women. They think we just the dumbest creatures on the world, and some of them do think that, not all of them, but they also believe that we're very emotional, and we are emotional creatures, and it's easy to get over on us. In some cases, absolutely, it just is. It is. I mean, the truth is the truth. You know what I mean? But that's where you work on. You get stronger, and you grow in that, and you realize that, and you can't get emotional over everything, and your singleness makes it makes you stronger in certain areas, because now you're in the forefront, and okay, if this is how, I'm single, and this is what people want to do to me because I'm single. You say, okay, you strengthen yourself, and you start to do research on certain things before you get anything fixed in the house. Do your research first. Know how much stuff costs. Know how they fix it, what the parts are like, and stuff like that. Just not too much research, but enough where when they get to talking, and you got to interview people to do work in your house, and you can say, "Go, he ain't it." No, and you know, because you just said, and you can go back. It makes you think on your own. It makes you not be solely reliable on someone. Um, Also, be careful too in your singleness, because it doesn't make you selfish. You become, not maybe not everybody, but you do become selfish. You become um, selfish. People come over your house, and you used to your stuff being in order, and then you come back downstairs, and you like, no, they didn't leave this stuff all over the place and stuff, and you like, oh, this is not. It can make you selfish. Also, you don't play with your time either, because you're used to having all this extra time for yourself. And then now people want to drag you into this, maybe into that, and have you go here, and have you all over the place. You're like, no, 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 no. I'm not doing that. So you got to be careful. But I say everything to say is that singleness, like I said, is not easy. It's not hard. It's not the worst thing in the world. You do find, if you embrace it, you find peace. You do find peace. Um, and you find joy, and you find that you can laugh at yourself, and you have those moments where certain things will come to mind, and you just be like, and you be around here laughing to yourself. Well, I remember when I did that. I remember when I did that. I sure do. Absolutely. I have full blown conversations in here, talking myself through certain stuff when times get a little rough, and then other times I laugh. I've learned how to watch a movie on my own and laugh and enjoy with my little favorite snacks and stuff like that. But I also can enjoy going out and hanging with people as well. But I enjoy my own company first. Whatever you're looking for on the outside, you got to do it for yourself first. And I didn't know what people meant when they said that. But when you can sit back and you can enjoy your own company, and you can laugh at yourself, and you can enjoy the peace and quiet, and you can sit back and watch yourself a movie, read a book, do something you like on your own, that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Then you can go out here because you love yourself that much, that you have taken the time to get to know who you are, and you have embraced who you are, and you love every part of yourself, all of the all of the stuff, that all of the bad habits you might have, and all of that stuff, and you have embraced them and said, well, it's me, it's not that bad, or whatever. When you can do that, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. And you never know that person that you're looking for, when you're ready, when you're calm and you're at peace, may come along out of nowhere. So definitely, like I said, I'm still single. Do not give up hope. Embrace being single. Okay? And all that comes with that. And just understand that, Everybody's not going to embrace you because you are single. Because, like I said, people look at single women sometimes as threats. Um, I can't say everybody's not a threat. I can't say everybody is. Everybody's not. Everybody's not a threat. Everyone is not looking to mess up somebody's relationship. That I don't believe that at all. Because you got good and bad, behavior and all that stuff. So it's just embrace it. Just everything comes with it. Like I said, ups and downs and all of that stuff. And just embrace your singleness. Learn as much as you can learn about yourself and about life as a whole, and find out what it is you like to do. Find out what fills your heart up, and that makes you happy, basically. So I just wanted to stop in, and I said stop in like I'm in the store. I wanted to make this video and share my experience about being single and welcome any questions that you may have. You can place them in the comment section. And also in my videos, I create resources, so emotional wellness and personal development resources to help you get through whatever challenges. Singleness may be a challenge for you, but I have other topics up there as well. I always create site pages, and I also create downloadable resources like little sheets or worksheets and things like that to as reminders to help you get through any trying times that you may be going through. So just check out my site, which is now this is the She Can Say It podcast, which is a spinoff of Pathways of Reflection, which is my coaching ministry, and it's www.pathwaysofreflection.com. So you can go on that site. My email address is there. You can ask any questions you want to. If you have any questions, you can drop the comments below this video, and you can also check out the podcast page, which is on that site, Pathways of Reflection, and it's called She Can Say It. So it's just www.pathwaysofreflection.com/She Can Say It. And it's the She Can Say It podcast. So I hope that any information that I have shared during this video was helpful. And I hope it can add some kind of benefit to your life. So I will see you on the next podcast, which will be in a couple of weeks. And take care, be well, be gentle with who you are, and embrace your singleness and find that voice for you and your character, I guess. Okay? All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. See you later.